Hello, and welcome to Moving Right Along, a Muppet movie podcast brought to you by toughpigs.com. This is the podcast where we watch The Muppets Take Manhattan 2 minutes at a time and talk about it a lot. I'm your host, Ryan Roe.
I'm your other host, Anthony Strand.
And we are extremely honored, very honored, and excited to have today's guest with us. She is a real live Muppet performer. Guest, please tell the folks at home who you are.
My name is Leslie Carrara-Rudolph. How do you do?
Thank you so much for being with us.
Yes. It's an honor to be here. It is. I love you guys. This is so much fun.
Thanks. Well, I'm sure everyone who's listening to this Muppet movie podcast knows this, but Leslie, of course, plays Abby Cadabby and a million other characters on Sesame Street.
1 million! 1 million!
At least, right? And her other credits include Muppets Tonight, Splash and Bubbles, The Fabulous World of Dr. Seuss, Animal Jam, and many, many other things Muppet-related and otherwise. So, thanks for being here.
Thank you.
And the reason you are here is to talk about minutes 9 and 10 of The Muppets Take Manhattan, in which Martin Price seems interested in the Muppets musical, but there's something a little fishy going on.
Yes.
So as we pick up this clip, Martin Price, played by Dabney Coleman, whom Anthony loves.
I do. I love him.
I do too.
That's good. We're all pro Dabney Coleman here. Actually, I just wanted to mention, we talked about Dabney Coleman a lot last week, but when I was researching for this season, I found a newspaper article from 1984. It was in the Passaic, New Jersey Herald News. It was just kind of a profile on Dabney Coleman.
And Enrico Tornellini's hometown?
That is where Enrico Tortellini is from. You are correct.
Wow.
That's a little foreshadow for later in the movie. It was a profile of Dabney Coleman, mostly about his TV show Buffalo Bill, but he also mentioned, he said, "I have a small part in The Muppets Take Manhattan, which was something I wanted to do for love." So that's nice to hear.
Aw, buddy.
Yeah, he seems like a nice guy. Martin Price, not as nice a guy. So Kermit starts telling him about the show. It's about life in the big city. Martin Price assumes that it's about cops shooting, car chases, that kind of thing. So I'm trying to think, are there any major Broadway musicals that are actually about cops, shootings, and car chases? There's like West Side Story and Guys and Dolls have police officers in them, but I don't think there are a lot of shootings in Broadway shows.
No.
I guess not.
I'm not really. I mean, I guess like Fiorello has a lot of it's like political wheeling and dealing, and but that's the closest one I can think of.
Yeah. Okay. Well,
which is the first tip off to his credibility.
Yes, that he doesn't understand what goes into a Broadway musical.
Yeah.
But Kermit tells him, no, it's more like songs and dances. He says songs and dances? Like, he's never considered such a thing before.
I know, that's so funny. I love that joke.
That this theatrical...
Second cute.
Yes, this is our second tip. Yeah, I love this joke. Then he says, nobody cares about shootings anyway. Kermit tells him that they want to star in it themselves. So then he's like, you'll be the stars, unknowns, songs, dances, shootings, and then throughout this little line, the Muppets are nodding their heads, and then shaking their heads and going, mm.
No shootings. I love the way Dabney Coleman snaps his fingers and says, "That's exactly what I was about to say. You be the stars."
Right.
Like, it's one of these things where he's so obviously a swindler.
Right. But here's the question that I was just thinking about, though. How much of this is a put on of him being like, oh yeah, you guys really have a great idea. You really know what you're doing. And how much of it is just him that he has no idea what he's doing. He's a dumb guy.
Do you think he just set up this office? Like, do you think he finished whatever Murray Plotsky affair he was up to and then shed that identity and just started becoming a Broadway producer recently?
I do. Because of what comes to follow. Okay, which I can't remember if it's in the next episode where she makes her interest and say, that's the man that took my money. And I'm like,
that is this episode,
right?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's right? At the end of this clip.
So what, because that is the lead in, unless she just came in and she had an idea for a Broadway show. I mean, I was just like, no, he obviously took her for something else.
Yeah, there was some.
I feel like
else.
This is a catch me if you can situation.
Yeah, I think that's right. I agree.
So this week he's a Broadway producer.
Yes, exactly.
Yes,
because and you can't tell me that woman came in there like, I have a great idea for a Broadway show, and it's like, which is kind of like the producers where he was, he was seducing
swindling old
women.
ladies.
Yeah. Well, I mean, she could have been an investor.
I don't think so. No. Not the way she's dressed. Like she's in a sweater and a purse and in beige. Doesn't unless she. I don't know, unless she said it was my son's, like her backstory. I'm very curious. I would love to see her 5 minutes before she walks in. And
that's really interesting. Yeah, we don't really see much of her at all.
No, like the casting of her has nothing to do with, I feel like it's just so completely different. That's Murray Plotsky,
Yeah. You're right about her look, though. She doesn't look like the kind of person who has a lot of money to give. I mean, I think that's the point, is that he took her for all she had. For something else, though. I don't think he took her for... I feel like this is a new setup with the... there's a couple little clues going by, like in The Sting, where they take over an office and, they say we're going to paint... I'm bringing up another reference for a different movie, but, where they take over the office and they say that they're painting and then they tell him he has to leave and then they take over the office. Well... Later, in the next 2 minutes, there's, a ladder in the hallway. Could be something, It could be some office repairs. Right. But definitely, I'm really curious as to what he did to that woman, how he got her money. But I don't think it was through a Broadway show investment. That's the kind of thing, if this was like a Marvel movie, there would be a comic book published that would tell the story of how Murray Plotsky cheated this lady. Yeah, or like if it's Pixar, like that little guy Bernie, that little one that
short film.
It would be a short,
the short film. He keeps coming out. Like, what's her running time up? Where does she find these officers, and how do they find him?
That's a good question too. How do they track down?
Those are 2 Men in Blue officers. Those aren't detectives.
That's true.
I hadn't even considered that. How did they figure out that Martin Price was Murray Plotsky?
Well, there's the same initials.
Yeah.
I'm dying to know how he got. Yeah. I don't know.
There's the whole
I mean, she's in a little beige blouse. She has, and his secretary, I feel like the secretary is kind of like, there's police officers there. Like, did he hire this secretary? Maybe this is her first week of work. Did he also, is she part of the sting? Or did he fix this office up, hire this woman? Because she looks like she has no idea what's going on.
That's true. You're right. Yeah. Wow.
She doesn't say here, it's time to go. You better hide under the desk. Go on the lam.
Well, it's
nothing.
Interesting.
She comes in. What are you? There's officers there.
And she seems surprised by it.
Completely clueless.
But I actually had this to mention a little later, but in the March 7th, 1983 draft of the screenplay, when she comes in, she actually says, Marty, it's the heat. So that makes it seem like she was in on it in that version of the screenplay, but in this one, she's not.
No.
Huh.
Yeah.
No.
So that's
interesting. And then their costuming is just like I said, the woman is just all in beige, and she has her handbag. She's in a long sweater cardigan, and and his secretary. She's not Vavumi. She's just very simple. I have a little white collar and pearls, and the police are here. So mm-hmm. I think this is her first week of work for this producer.
Yeah, he may have just set this office up. Yeah, I think you're onto something.
And I can't remember. Do you remember? Does she say Marty, or does she call him Mr.?
Because his name is Murray in this version of the...
No, the secretary.
What does the secretary call him?
When she comes in to tell him the police are there?
Yeah.
I don't. She probably says Mr. Price, right?
I'm going to find it.
I don't remember.
I have it. I have it.
Police officers outside the...
Okay.
Royce?
Sorry, you guys.
Police officers outside. They'd like to speak to you for a minute.
It sounds like she doesn't address him by name at all there.
No, she goes, there's 2 police officers. And she's kind of nervous, but in the clip, now that I look back at it, the other police officer has already grabbed the secretary by the arm.
Oh yeah.
So maybe she was in on it.
Yeah, they're
maybe
suspicious, I guess. They just want to cover all their bases.
I don't know.
But
we can write a spin-off.
We should pitch it.
Yeah, this is great stuff.
I love this. I have not thought about this much about this at all. So
no,
I am intrigued by. I would subscribe to your newsletter.
I can't stop thinking about that lady. I just want to know exactly how much money he took, what it was about, how they found her, because I was like, casting is everything, and costuming. But anyway, that's the side note. But
yeah, no, you're right. It was a very deliberate look.
I wasn't even really going to bring that up, but you mentioned it.
No, it's great.
Thank you. So according to Muppet Wiki, the actress who plays the old lady is named Joanne Hamlin. And this is her only movie credit.
Oh.
But she worked on stage for years in South Carolina, New York City, and Massachusetts.
Huh.
And she worked with the Harvard Summer Repertory Theater. And she created and starred in 2 one-woman shows called Choices and I Am an Artist.
Oh, wow.
Can we find those shows?
I think if you go back in time.
Wow.
But yeah, so but I agree, you're right. Like, she doesn't look like someone who's going to pitch a show. So it is fascinating to me that this actress actually wrote and starred in 2 one-woman shows.
Oh, right.
Apparently.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. Huh. But then again, it's the costume choices and
right. It's she's playing a character.
Yeah.
Huh. I'm sure she didn't act like. I'm sure in her one-woman shows she wasn't like, "That's Marie Plotsky. He took my life savings."
Well, when you get the casting call, what was the casting call? Sweet elderly lady, has been taken advantage of by a swindler. So maybe that was her costume choice. It didn't say, woman investor with an idea for a Broadway show. That's a completely different look. So
right, of course.
That just leads me to believe he just set up office, recently. And this is
I think you're right. Yeah. So going back a couple steps, when he's listening to this pitch, it's barely even a pitch, but he says, "You know what? I smell something." And then all the Muppets turn to look at Ralph. He says, "Why does everyone always blame dogs?" So I guess, this could just be a joke about dogs smelling bad, but I guess this is a fart joke, right?
I think so.
I guess so, but dogs also smell bad when they're wet.
True.
Dogs just smell bad all the time.
No,
not all the time.
I'm going to disagree. It's a fart joke.
But I guess I didn't really realize that until, I don't know. I didn't realize when I was a kid watching this.
But would it be funnier if Fozzie was wearing fart shoes, Ryan?
No. And I'm not crazy about the Muppets doing any kind of flatulence related humor, but I realize that I might be in the minority on that.
This is just my personal thought, because there's lots of different critters in this particular shot. There's animal, there's a chicken, there's a frog, there's lots of different, there's a bear, there's lots of different smells in that in that group, right?
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. There's Gonzo.
Right. So why does
anybody step in? So in a typical dog household, if there is a smell of some sort, people usually blame the dog. And there was, so I'm going to say this was a dog gas joke.
Yeah, and maybe another reason then that I didn't get it when I was a kid was that I didn't have a family dog until I was a teenager. So
my dog gets offended by gas. Just so in case your viewers need to know, this is not part of dissecting the episode. But if anybody passes gas, Newhart literally gets up and walks away and looks back at you while he's walking away. I'm mortified.
He's just disgusted.
He just leaves. And he even got one of those little chew toys that is like a poop emoji that's like a whoopee cushion, like when he plays with it. And he was playing with it and it made the noise. He dropped it and looked away and just like started crying. Like he was upset. Like now even my toys have that.
Newhart is way too sophisticated for that kind of humor.
Yeah. All right.
So Price tells them, so Kermit is trying to get him to read the script, but before he commits, but he's like, no, I'm going to produce your show. This is it. All he has to do is he has a million things to do, but first what he needs from the Muppets is $300 a piece, which he tells them is standard Broadway procedure. And I guess they're probably, this is probably something that really happens in the theater world and like definitely in other parts of show businesses, these kinds of scam artists, like, I'll do this thing for you. You just pay me first.
Yeah, I think they do that like a lot with like, sure, we'll pick you up at this agency, but you have to take these classes first. And we want to make sure you know how to do the commercial. So we're going to sign you up with this particular class. And this is how much this is. And then you'll need yeah.
Yeah, just I'll do this for you and you're going to be a star, but just keep paying me money to do it. So yeah, that's his deal. And then we talked about the lady comes in and identifies him as Murray Plotsky. The police tell him that he's pulled his last con job, and that is where this clip ends. Actually, I had two other things. One is another thing that was cut from the March 7th, 1983 draft, which is that when the Muppets first come in, Price closes his eyes and leans back in his chair and just sits there for a really long time, just silently thinking until the Muppets think he might be dead. Which is,
what?
Yeah, it's really weird. I didn't actually write down the exact excerpt from the script, but it's just like he closes his eyes, he leans back, and he's just sitting there, and they kind of stare at him, and then Animal walks up and like stares him in the face, and he opens his eyes and like is startled by Animal, and Kermit says they thought he might be dead. So I don't know what that's all about. That was a good thing to delete from the script.
I feel like that's something that could work with a different actor, maybe.
Yeah, maybe.
Like
maybe they had somebody else in mind.
Yeah, if it's Christopher Walken or something, sure.
Yeah, somebody a little more oddball.
Yeah.
And then the other thing is, so we're saying that he's probably never actually produced a musical in his life, but I noticed this time for the first time that there are framed posters on his wall of presumably musicals that he's worked on in the past. And the ones that I could read, there was one called No Problem, one called Too Much, like TWO and then TOO, Too Much. One called Ahab, where the poster looks like like a cartoon version of Captain Ahab being like squirted up on a whale's blowhole.
Ahab the musical.
Yeah, which is a really funny idea.
Yeah, I'd watch it.
There's one right near the door called Unicorns Don't Cry.
Wow.
Yeah.
And you know what? That's ahead of its time. Because, I mean, think about it. Unicorns back then aren't as popular as they are now.
That's true.
That's really ahead of its time. That's hilarious.
Yeah, unicorns don't cry. So that is actually everything I have for these 2 minutes. I will ask if either of you have any final thoughts, starting with Leslie.
Yes. So I'm glad that it wasn't laying back and just snoozing, because that would have been such a huge waste of Dabney. I'm going to call him that. Just because what I love about this is it's so classic. Like this almost becomes like, it's such a genius physical comedy, these 4 minutes. And I'm so glad I got them both, because it's just, there's like a nod to just the orchestration of comedy. And there's like a nod to the Marx Brothers later, which Gonzo does, which I think you will probably know what it is. But what I like about him is that they come in and the Muppets are really like, they're very animated, obviously, already. And he is so quiet and so subtle. And his stillness, Like he just basically, he starts, it's like in good animation, you know, they call it squash and stretch, right?
Mhm.
And
Yeah.
basically, if you know that you're going to go to like make a big movement or you're going to go big later on, you're as chill as possible. So he's so calm and slick, and the way he's just still, like when he says, yeah, we'll have this, 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 and so even the back and forth it plays like a radio show. So even if you can, you know, when you were talking about they were waving shaking their heads,
Yeah, and I mean that's a great visual too. But the audio, the verbal aspect of that is really funny too.
Yeah, so it's just like, it's so classic. I mean, it's just so well orchestrated, and he's just so like, well, I loved him in 9 to 5. I mean, this man is such a genius, such an underrated comedian, you know, and his timing and everything, and his style and his delivery, and it is just really, I just like how he's visualizing it. He's acting like he's seeing it. This is great. And then there'll be guns. What? No. Okay, I guess not. And then, you know, but even that, it's just like, he doesn't go, there'll be guns and they'll be great. This will be great. Oh, hey kids, this is going to be great. Yeah. He's not going, this is going to be fabulous. You tell me this, you know, he's not playing it all like schmoozy. He's playing it all laid back and talk to me.
Yeah,
like,
that's true.
Yeah.
And I think he's really perfect for the role in that way. And also it kind of is the vibe of this movie, which is a little bit more low key than the previous two Muppet movies. I guess the one, unless I'm missing something, the one celebrity cameo that's an exception to that is Joan Rivers later, which is a very wacky, high energy scene. But yeah, the rest of it, including the celebrity cameos, it's a little more subtle kind of comedy and comedy performances than some stuff in the other two movies were.
Yeah. I just like that he's just like he's very articulate and I don't want to say petite, but he's just very small but articulate and like, yeah, that'd be great. Okay, yeah. I just need $300.
Yeah, very subtle, deliberate.
Right, it's just really calm, and which is nice because it plays a nice balance with these, you know, these high energy, vibrant creatures in front of you, and then it's just like, okay, so this, and then the woman calmly comes in and says, the police are here, and then the next thing you're like, what? So that's when all of a sudden this is a squash and stretch, like, what? And then he quietly walks forward like, okay, and then
you're right, then it's like it's building up to the punchline or the
all hell breaks loose.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's a great observation.
If he was this like chill, like, hey, come on in, kids, tell me about your, and all these big movements, it would completely take away from what's about to happen. You know, you're like right. Sitting in there. You've been walking from place to place. You go in, and people up until that point is a montage of getting the door slammed, and So it was really, I don't know. I just think he's just genius. And then, of course, the rhythm of the comedy back and forth, just so well played by the Muppets and by them. Their timing back and forth.
Yeah, and it's just so much fun to see so many Muppets in the frame, just in unison like that.
In unison, like their energy is completely, because you're right close and you're feeling each other. And the cool thing about, the one thing I love about puppeteering, especially when you're with someone, you can feel each other's breath. You're watching the monitor. So you can see each other's breathing. You can see each other nod their head. If you're a comedian and you're with your partner, you have eyeballs on your partner and you can read each other's emotions, right? Because you're right face to face with them. But when you're a puppeteer, your eyes are pointed down and you're looking. And so you're having to feel their breath right next to you, heart to heart. And you're looking on screen and it's going up here. So it's just an incredible group rhythm that they have.
Huh.
It's
awesome.
Really fascinating.
Yeah, this is why I love hearing you talk about this stuff, because it's even I think people like Anthony and myself who think about the Muppets and the puppeteers behind them a lot are not necessarily thinking about that part of it when we're watching something like this.
Yeah, and the other thing too is that they're not like, even when they all turn to look at Ralph, the dog, right? So he goes, I smell something, and then they all just kind of take off each other's lead. Like, did you just? I mean, maybe Ralph has been dropping bombs all day. Maybe he's just gassy. But even then, they're working off each other's timing. It's not like it's not you don't know who they're gonna look at. They just end up looking, and then it becomes a dog joke. But you know what I mean?
Yeah, I'm just looking at it again. Like a couple of them sort of like look around a little bit. Like they kind of take a roundabout way, and then they like all of their eyes land on Ralph in the back. So yeah, and I mean that's something I'm sure they had to sort of choreograph and figure out exactly how this take is going to work.
I think that's where, like you said, that's where the puppeteers just like they do it a couple times. You just feel each other, like, you know, because you're seeing it in real time. You know, other actors don't get to see themselves
because
right?
you're looking at a monitor and you're seeing what
you're
the audience
looking
is
at a
see.
monitor. You're seeing everybody turn, everybody feel, everybody like, and you're balancing the screen. Like, you know, they're in the foreground. There's very little. There's some head shaking, but when Dabney's working, they're giving all their focus to him. They're not upstaging him. They're letting him do his work. You know, they're very thoughtful of it. So yeah.
I'm sure it's also an advantage in this one that they had, and the Great Muppet Caper, to have a Muppet performer as a director, someone who understands that kind of stuff.
Oh yeah,
you know, coming in from the beginning. So yeah, that's really fascinating. Thanks for sharing those insights.
Yeah, for sure. That's great. I would never think of that stuff.
Yeah. So Anthony, did you have anything else?
No, I can't follow that.
All right. In that case, we will start to wrap things up. Leslie will be back next episode, but we're going to go ahead and do this part now. We like to ask our guests, what is your history with this movie? Do you remember the first time you saw it? How would you rank it alongside the other Muppet movies?
Oh, that's right. You asked these questions.
Yeah, sorry. I should have reminded you that we do this.
Yeah, because I have different feelings for each one. Let me see if I can remember. Like, well, I mean, I saw all the Muppet movies in theater. Lucky me. Yeah. You know, I collected frogs. Me and my best friend, we collected frogs and stuff. So we were huge Kermit fans anyway. And we would like dress up with all our Muppet, you know, whatever we had. You know, I will say this, when Ryan he asked me first to join the both of you, I thought that the clip that I wanted was the rats that were skating on pats of butter, you know, the first Ratatouille. That was the first thing I want, because I thought, oh my God, because I left the theater just being so excited about all the things that the rats were doing in the kitchen. So that's kind of stuck with me. So I'm really surprised me later to pick this clip. So I just remember just being obsessed with the two worlds, you know, that they always have. I think we talked about this in our last visit, or maybe we were talking about Muppet Treasure Island or something. Like there's always an A story and a B story, and you know how the lives. But that's one thing I remember most is that. And now when I go back and look at it, I try to find Muppet performers like in the opening scene.
Oh, sure. The cameos in the audience at the college.
Yeah. So that's kind of fun to do that. But I don't know if I can answer this question.
That's okay. You don't have to. It's hard to choose, actually. They're all good.
It really is hard to choose because I just have such an emotional attachment. You know, when we did The Great Muppet Caper, you know, Charles Grodin was just like the musical numbers were so over the top. I love that. And but I really feel like with the Muppet movie, it really does resonate where you are in your life, you know. And I just remember always being excited about this one. And so Anyway.
Yeah, that's a great answer.
That's
Yeah.
great. Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you.
So, all right, then in that case, we will close things out for this week. Listeners, please make sure you check out toughpigs.com on the internet, Facebook, Twitter, and all of those things. You can also, if you have thoughts about this scene, this movie, some scenes coming up, you can send us an email at movinrightalong@toughpigs.com. I should also remember to give credit to our logo by Morgan Davy and our theme music by Stacey Rosen. Thank you to both of them. You can find me on Twitter at Ryan Roe. Leslie, where can people find you and your work on the internet?
Oh my gosh. So my website is lesliecarrara-rudolph.com, and we're putting some fun things up there lately. If you want to find Lolly, she has her own page there, Lolly Lard Pop on Instagram. It's usually me, Lolly, Newhart, Abby Cadabby. We got a montage of stuff, Granny Dot, Lolly Lard Pop on Facebook. I'm not so great at Facebook as Leslie, because I'm just so busy. But you can always find, I usually post stuff on Instagram. But again, my website, I think we're going to be posting some shows and some fun things coming up.
Yes, everyone should definitely check out all of those social media things and lesliecarrara-rudolph.com, including Lolly's page and all that fun stuff. And listeners, if you don't mind, please give us a positive review on Apple Podcasts or wherever. Please tell all your friends about the show and join us again next week for another episode of Moving Right Along. Bye.
Goodbye.